Robert F. Kennedy Jr. has stirred the political waters with his recent declaration, casting a new light on the upcoming electoral battle. Today, we're delving into an intriguing development. RFK Jr. AKO's potential exit from the electoral race, a move that could significantly boost Trump's odds in the 2024 elections. There's buzzing speculation that Robert F. Kennedy Jr., alongside his vice presidential pick, Nicole Shanahan, might bow out of the 2024 presidential race and throw their support behind Donald Trump. Shanahan dropped hints during a recent podcast appearance that stepping aside might be on their agenda to avoid handing victory to a Harris-Lee-led government. Should Kennedy and Shanahan decide to endorse Trump, it could lead to a major shift in the election dynamics, potentially setting the stage for a sweeping Trump victory. Today, let's dive into the potential ramifications if Robert F. Kennedy Jr. steps back from the presidential race. Currently, Kennedy is polling at approximately 4.8% nationwide, according to 538. While this figure might seem modest, his departure could significantly sway the 2024 election, particularly if he endorses Donald Trump. Interestingly, Kennedy seems to be drawing more support from Trump's base than from Harris's, with a shift of about 1 to 2 percentage points depending on the source. For example, the latest reports state that without Kennedy in the race, Harris holds a national lead of 2.5%. Yet, this lead increases to 4.4% when Kennedy is factored in, indicating that his campaign is inadvertently boosting Harris. Should Kennedy withdraw, it's expected that a large chunk of his supporters would gravitate back towards Trump, considering many are former Trump voters. This shift could potentially increase Trump's national polling figures by 1 to 2 points. While this doesn't necessarily secure a landslide victory for Trump, it certainly enhances the likelihood of a more competitive race. With Kennedy out of the picture, his exit could predominantly benefit Trump, especially in pivotal swing states where even minor changes in voter support can tip the scales. This dynamic could redefine the strategic calculations for both the Trump and Harris campaigns as they vie for every available vote. Such a move could greatly affect who shows up to vote and their choices, especially swaying those who are undecided or only slightly leaning towards Trump. Understanding these shifts helps us foresee potential changes in campaign strategies as they adapt to this significant development in the electoral race. This analysis not only underscores the importance of swing states, but also highlights how a single endorsement could ripple across the political landscape, reshaping alliances and voter sentiments. Now, let's delve into how Kennedy possibly stepping aside and endorsing Trump might change the dynamics in these vital regions, possibly altering the entire election map. Wisconsin has seen incredibly close races in recent years, with Biden securing a win in 2020 by just 0.6%. Kennedy's withdrawal could give Trump an edge, particularly among rural and suburban voters who might have supported Kennedy before. This shift could increase Trump's chances of securing a victory in Wisconsin as well. In Pennsylvania, the impact of presidential elections is always significant, and the recent departure of Kennedy from the race could really shake things up. In the last election of 2020, Biden barely clinched the state with a little over a 1% lead. Now, with Kennedy out, his more right-leaning supporters might start backing Trump. This shift could really tighten things up and might even tip the scales in Trump's favor in Pennsylvania. Turning our attention to Michigan, another battleground state, we saw Biden with a narrow win there too, by 2.8% in 2020. The supporters Kennedy leaves behind, including those who previously voted for Trump and independents, could play a crucial role. With the latest polls putting Trump a bit behind Harris, Kennedy bowing out could push his supporters toward Trump, potentially giving him the upper hand and making the state fiercely contested. Kennedy bowing out could really mix things up in North Carolina, where elections are always a close call. Trump narrowly took the state in 2020, and the latest polls have him just a bit behind Harris. Kennedy's not insignificant 3.7% could swing to Trump with his exit. This could give Trump the boost he needs to overtake Harris and maybe secure a win in North Carolina by bridging the tight gap. In Nevada, Kennedy's exit from the political fray could significantly influence the tight electoral margins observed in the 2020 elections. Biden narrowly surpassed Trump by a mere 0.2%, with votes tallying at 44.6% to Trump's 44.8%, and Kennedy himself drawing 5% of the votes. Should Kennedy choose to endorse Trump, his base might pivot towards Trump, possibly swinging Nevada in Trump's favor for the 2024 election cycle. Arizona presents a similar scenario, having recently turned blue for the first time in decades by a slim margin of just 10,000 votes. A Kennedy endorsement of Trump could potentially reel in conservative and independent voters who previously supported Kennedy, ramping up the competitiveness in this traditionally red state once more. Arizona's diverse voter base, which includes a substantial Latino population, suburban communities, and a solid conservative group, adds complexity to predicting election results. A withdrawal by Kennedy could see Trump consolidating a greater share of the right-leaning voters, possibly flipping Arizona back to red, which would be a significant victory in his quest for re-election. These strategic electoral shifts in Nevada and Arizona might set off a chain reaction across other pivotal states, potentially altering the broader political landscape as the next presidential race looms. The months leading up to the election could see critical realignments and endorsements as both major parties seek to capitalize on every possible electoral advantage to secure victory. In North Carolina, a blend of suburban and rural voters, many of whom traditionally support conservative candidates, may swing their support back to Trump if Kennedy decides to exit the race, potentially strengthening Trump's campaign. Similarly, Georgia's political scene might experience a shift with Kennedy's exit. The state, which flipped to blue in the 2020 elections, has a diverse electorate spanning urban to rural areas. Here, Trump retains significant popularity in the rural regions. If Kennedy's disillusioned followers, many of whom were once Trump supporters, decided to back him once more, it could solidify Trump's influence in Georgia, making him a more formidable contender. Should the latest polls indicate Kennedy holding a 6% support rate in Virginia, with Trump lagging 3 points behind Harris, Kennedy stepping aside could dramatically alter the electoral outlook. A considerable number of Kennedy's followers might return to Trump, potentially erasing the deficit and possibly giving Trump a slight lead. This kind of shift, even if only a few percentage points, could crucially tilt the balance in Trump's favor in this critical battleground, increasing the intensity of the 2024 election race and potentially flipping Virginia to red again. This evolving scenario highlights the ever-changing nature of voter loyalties and the significant impact individual candidates can have on the electoral landscape. As voter preferences shift, the decisions made by candidates not only mirror current poll numbers, but also strategically shape the wider electoral context, introducing multiple layers of complexity to the campaign. This dynamic reshuffling provides a compelling insight into the strategic moves in American politics, where a single candidate's withdrawal could substantially reconfigure the competitive environment. As the political climate heats up, it appears more and more probable that Kennedy might exit the presidential race, potentially endorsing Trump. Such a move could substantially boost Trump's chances of a sweeping victory in the 2024 election. What's the basis for this prediction? Kennedy, after putting considerable effort and resources into his campaign, shows signs of bowing out. His weak polling numbers, coupled with his and his running mate Nicole Shanahan's public dissatisfaction with the Harris campaign, are strong indicators of his wavering campaign stability. Furthermore, the Democratic Party's legal actions against Kennedy only add to the intense pressure he faces to step aside. The possibility of them endorsing Trump, a highly unusual strategy for a third party, hints they might be preparing to leave the race altogether, a decision that could decisively tip the scales in Trump's favor as Election Day draws near. This unfolding scenario is further complicated by Kennedy and Shanahan's clear disenchantment with prevailing political strategies, potentially driving their controversial inclination towards supporting Trump. Their readiness to defy conventional party boundaries could herald a significant shift intended to redefine their political careers. If they go through with this endorsement, it could stun the political field and realign voter expectations and sentiments leading up to the 2024 elections. Such a strategic realignment, while surprising, underscores the fluid and often unpredictable dynamics of political alliances and campaign strategies.